If you're watching this video, chances are is that you were doing all of your self-improvement habits pretty regularly and pretty well. You were meditating, you were exercising, you were focusing on your goals. But all of a sudden, you have done something that has led you to the point in which you are right now. You are inside of a rut. You don't have any motivation. You can't seem to do the thing that you must do, that you know that is good for you, whether it is studying, whether it is exercising, whatever it is, you just can't seem to do that thing. And we need to understand that whenever you do these short-term gratification activities, when you spike your dopamine levels through the roof, you also have a dopamine crash. That's the reason why you're feeling so down and just so out of energy. What we want to do right now is to get out of this rut, get out of this valley inside of the graph. Now, we need to get very clear that the higher the dopamine spike we have, the longer and the more steep that valley is going to be, and the longer it is going to take us to return to that baseline dopamine level. Because the dopamine spike that you get from looking at 5 minutes of TikTok is not going to be the same as watching porn, watching TikTok, and eating tons of sugar at the same time in the span of 3 hours. So how can we fix this and minimize the time and effort which takes us to get out of this rut, get out of this dopamine valley? Well, before we start, I need to get very clear. The fact that you learn about this is not an excuse for you to go back and do those dopaminergic short-term gratification things because you say, oh, if I know how to get out of ruts consistently, I'm going to still indulge in this dopaminergic and short-term gratification activities. This is a last resort thing whenever you find yourself just indulging in those things when you really didn't intend to. Knowing this, the way that we're going to achieve this is by doing something which is more painful and more uncomfortable than the situation we are in right now. And when I say painful, I don't mean just hurting yourself for no reason, like we are no emos right here. I mean something that is uncomfortable, something that puts your body into a state of like saying, okay, we need to get activated, if not, we are not going to survive. An example of activities that more likely than not are more uncomfortable than the situation you are in right now are taking cold showers and going out for runs. These are activities that are very demanding physically. Like taking cold showers is not very demanding, but you put your body into a state of shock. Like it's much more uncomfortable than you being on the couch and scrolling through TikTok. Like that's just obvious. You need to get yourself into those situations which your body says, okay, just wake up, be alert, because this is something that is going to try to attack our bodies in a way. It puts your body into a state of shock. In the same way that running is very uncomfortable for some people like me, but we need to get something very clear, and it is that when you do these activities that are painful and uncomfortable, they need to be activities that you don't want to do. Because there's this thing in our minds called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex that every single time that we do something that we don't want to do, it grows. It's a part of our brains that grows. It's colloquially called the dopamine, well, it's not dopamine, the discipline brain structure, because every single time that we do something that we don't want, we put ourselves into this disciplined mode. We do this thing that we don't want to do. It actually grows, and the more it grows, the easier it is for us to do things that we don't want to do, things that we need to use our discipline for. So that's the reason why we need to do something that is very uncomfortable and very painful for us, but we don't want to do. Like maybe, for example, if you love running, if you get yourself out of the house and start running, your anterior mid-cingulate cortex is not going to grow as much as if I do it, because I hate running. The same way as if you enjoy taking cold showers, like for some reason or another, it is not going to be as beneficial for you as if I do it, because I hate taking cold showers. You need to find that activity which is very, very hard for you to do, and it doesn't have to be anything related to the task that you're procrastinating on. Although, in base case scenario, that will be the best thing that you should do. If you're procrastinating on filming YouTube videos, the best thing that you should do is to do something uncomfortable, that is just sitting down and just filming a YouTube video. But you already knew that. If not, you will not be watching this video. And the reason why we do these activities, apart from the fact that it resets our dopamine levels a little bit, it gets us closer to the baseline, is because of this thing called Newton's first law of physics, inertia, which basically tells us that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion with the same direction and same speed unless an external force acts upon it. So in this case, the external force that we are using is that uncomfortable and painful activity that we are introducing into our lives, and that puts us into motion so that it is much easier for us just to do that activity that we are procrastinating on and getting out of ruts, because our ball is already moving, our car is already moving. It is much easier to move a car once it starts to move rather than just move a car that is parked, stationed, or whatever. That's the reason why we do these activities, to get ourselves moving in the first place. And that is exactly how you're able to break out of ruts consistently. Because think about it as a simpleton. If you're laying on your bed scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through Instagram, what is the next thing that you are more likely to do? Just stay in that same pattern and scroll through TikTok and Instagram even more. But what if you get out of your bed and start doing any kind of action and just putting your body into just this movement? the most likely thing that you're going to do next is something that involves action as well. So you need to respect the first law of physics and just get your body moving. And that's exactly how you break out of ruts and regulate your dopamine baseline. Just doing that. And that's how I'm able to go from soy boy Ivan, who's procrastinating on every single one of his goals and is a pussy, to being this super handsome, super productive, and super Megatron Ivan who is able to do all the things that he proposes to himself. And that's exactly how you can do it as well. As always, thank you so much for watching until the end. It's me, Ivan. Stay patient because your prophecy is unfolding. I love you, and I'll see you on the next one. Mwah.